Hello everybody, Mr. Pilgrim here, coming at you with a brand new Platinum Trophy Guide, and that is going to be for Code Vein. As you could probably tell by the intro, as it said Code Vein and all that in the start, I've now skipped all the way to the start. Like always, I'm going to be doing a brand new character, brand new save. That way you guys can see that I can do it, you can do it, same old, same old. So I'm kind of going to brush over some of the stuff about the game to make the combat and stuff make a little bit more sense as you're playing through the game. As you're aware, there are blood codes and things like that, and things that you can acquire, of course, as you play through the game. I will be skipping all of the cutscenes, so don't worry about me trying to spoil anything. I will try to avoid spoiling as much as I can. Of course, I am going to be showing off bosses, so if you don't want to watch the bosses, you can always skip those parts. That way you can experience the bosses for yourself. No harm, no foul on that.
This one's dry.
Anyways, like always, I'll be trying to go over and show you most of what I can. Like in the Souls games, I'll try and go through and explore and point out key things you might want to grab, things like that. So yeah, so as the game starts, you will have your basic 3 blood codes. I highly recommend, once you have mastered and obtained certain gifts and abilities from one, play as the others and then do the same for those, as mastering and getting gifts and abilities from all of the blood codes are going to help you out in the long run. Of course, there are going to be areas you can go back and farm to do this, so you don't have to immediately do it if you don't want to. You can stick with one that you find comfortable and will help you get more accustomed to how the game plays. So yeah, but as always, we're just going to jump right into it, and I'm going to try and go through and defeat all the enemies, so on, etc. Get to the points to where there's cutscenes, you know, skip all that, and leave all of the items on the ground. That way you can see what all I grab. That way you know where key items are and stuff like that. So yeah. Alright, so I will point out that probably the first trophy you can get in Code Vein is going to be shortly after starting. In the tutorial area, you'll have this enemy here who's eating. You'll have the tutorial to hit square while right up behind them. You'll then do this specific move here, and then that will get you the Drink Deep trophy. Pretty simple. But like I said before, we're now going to skip to just showing you all of the important stuff. I will probably pick up a weapon which will be in a chest. So if the chest is already open, that is why. Alright, so in the first area, as you'll see, all of the main stuff that you'll get is a lost shard. Then following the main path over here, you'll find another lost shard. Basically, think of this as a consumable that will get you the currency of the game. You might see me refer to this as souls, just to make it easier for those who have played the Souls games. In here is the weapon I'm currently wielding. Pretty nice weapon. From here, if you continue forward or to the right, you'll then come back here and find Queen Iron. This is a upgradable material that is used in your weapons. Similar to Titanite shards, it is the basic upgrade. You'll then have different varieties or different versions of the same thing. In here you'll have your second chest, and you'll have another weapon, a bayonet. In here you'll have your first door to go through, and you'll have some more Queen Iron. In this area you'll have a couple of things. These are old world items. These are things that you can actually give to characters and get rewards for, which I'll go into more detail in a bit. But as you're going through, you'll see that it's pretty easy to check and see things that you might have missed, or things that get marked on the map. Here you'll have your ability to see how you can map the game, and down here is the shortcut back to where we started. So from here we're now going to continue to the next area. Alright, so from here Basically what you want to do is you'll have this bend that'll lead around, but if you come here, drop down, you'll find your next chest. This will have the Queenslayer Greatsword. Then you can drop down here. There will be one single enemy, it's alright. The path doesn't matter either way, but you'll end up right here, and there'll be a cutscene, and then you'll have to leave Oliver behind as he gets winded. So from here, you can grab your next couple of things. Now, in this area at the split, I highly recommend following this path all the way on the left, taking out all the enemies along the way, grabbing all the items but not dropping down just yet. You basically just follow this path all the way around. As you'll see, it is a long way. You'll get to right here, which will actually be an upgrade to your healing. So if you go to your inventory and then use it, you now have an extra use for healing. You can find multiple of these throughout your run, but then you can come back and take the path that we could have taken, and then take the right version of that. You can then come down here and grab this item, a Vivifier. Then we can head back up and head all the way around. From here, you can then take the right path, and you'll get your next chest. This enemy can be quite tough, as the area you fight him in is kind of small. You'll get your next Blood Veil. These also affect your abilities, defenses, stat scalings, and all that. It's going to be a while before you get any that are really important and or impactful. But here you'll have your next missile. This will also act as mapping, and then you can also rest and upgrade at these as well. Or you can inquire and inherit gifts. Those aren't important right now. For now, I'd recommend just putting a couple levels into your character and leveling up a little bit. So now we can move on to the next area. As you'll see, there's a character waiting up ahead of us. What you'll want to do is you'll want to accept his services and have him join you. This will just make the game easier. If you don't want to, you don't have to, but it will be important, as this game does require actually playing with an AI companion, or if you play online, to play with friends, as certain things do become quite tougher if you aren't with someone or an AI. So yeah. Alright, so from here, like I said, you're going to come down here, you're going to talk to the stranger, and he'll ask to join up. You'll simply just say yes. Then from here, if you head up and then drop down, you'll find your next item. Now do note that there is a trophy related to having conversations with the NPCs or with your partners. This will just happen naturally as you play the game, as they will just talk to you and say things to you, see how you're doing. As you'll see, just picking up stuff easily leads to it. But from here you can then follow this ladder up, as there is a small ambush in that area between some of the enemies. You can then drop down here and activate this tree right here. This will activate a cutscene, and then we will have our next resting area, of course. Alright, so from here you'll just follow the same path. There's not really much branching out or anything from here to the next area. You'll find your next weapon here. In here there'll be a small ambush if you come into this little alcove or broken wall, so do be careful of that. But coming in here, we can now head up the stairs, grab this item that was visible from the area earlier. Don't know why I can't speak. From here, if you actually keep heading up the stairs, you'll find a little hidden item. From here, we'll find our next pick up, which is some queen iron, of course. As you'll see, they scattered a lot of materials and items in the tutorial to give you a fighting chance. From here, you'll just follow the path and you'll find your next mapping. And then from here, you can head up. And then there will be a cutscene, and then you will have your first official boss of the game.
Good.
As you'll see right here. Of course, I'm going to be skipping the cutscene. However, it is going to be Oliver, our companion from before. He has gone mad. For a tutorial boss who's not too hard, he has some pretty slow attacks. But do be careful on stamina, as you'll see eventually towards the halfway point, he will turn into this big boy, who now has a much larger attack area. And just like that, you will then get a weapon, and then you will get your next trophy for defeating Oliver Collins. Now, obviously I'm going to skip what happens next, as you'll have a little tutorial area where you'll be able to see memories of Oliver, and then you'll actually get his blood code. So I'm just going to skip that now, as it's kind of a small section, but it's, you know, it's somewhat story related, so yeah. Alright, afterwards you'll have the safe space to where you are at with Lewis, who has now been revealed, and everybody. You can then talk to your companion Io. You can then talk to everybody. Some are more responsive than others.
I'm just...
But eventually you'll just come and talk to Lewis again.
It'll take a while to get the results. Take it easy in the room.
You'll then take a nap, of course. From here you'll just head out to the right, and then you'll be back.
If my theory is correct, well, here goes.
After talking for a bit, Lewis will then be able to actually give you his blood code that he uses. You'll then talk to him again.
You remember that?
Of course, I'm going to skip all the major cutscenes to avoid story and spoilers.
Is something up?
Now from here is where you can talk and exchange things to give items, valuables, and stuff like that. As you'll see, doing so will get you trading points, which then you can use to receive items from Lewis. As you'll see, you can actually get his weapon. It's a decent weapon. You can also do this for certain other characters like Yakumo right here. But from here, actually what you're going to do is, if you really want to, you can farm that, and I will show you real quickly how you can farm that. And that will require talking to Davis right here. But in order to do that first, what you have to do is travel back to the area where you fought Oliver. So you'll teleport, and then you'll go to the outer crossroads. Alright, once you are here, there's going to be this guy, Shang.
Oh, I'll be a. As you
He
travel
will
around, even to remember.
give you a map
Greetings.
to
I'd
the
like you to
Den
do-
of Darkness.
Good to be with you.
But from here you can actually
Do you have any
trade
materials
valuables
from the
with
old
him,
world? I can
and
give you
what it
valuables in
is you
exchange.
can trade old world parts. As you can see, I happen to get one, as they are just random drops from the enemies in the area. It's a rare drop, of course, but can be farmed, and that's exactly what I'm going to show you how to do. Now, the main two that you're going to want to get is the Blood Bead Candy or the Fragrant Tea. You can get an infinite amount that you want, of course, or up to 99. You're not going to need that many. So now that you've spoken
Don't
to him and
hesitate
he's
to
given
come
you
back.
that map, you can now go back to access the depths. Now, do note, I am playing this game on the most current patch of the game, so that will allow me to do that. So now you can go back and talk to Davis. He will then allow you to go to the depths, and it is there that I will show you how to farm the old world parts. So I'm going to skip a bit, as you know, there's stuff in between there and there. Now do note, you can complete the entirety of that first floor of the depths, so don't worry about doing everything and not being able to farm this. You can fully complete the entire floor and farm it still. So yeah. Alright, so once you are here in the depths, this is the first map. There's no other map that you can access at the start, so you don't worry about being in this wrong area to me. As you can see, I've fully gone and mapped the area. I've already gotten everything that I can get. I will also show off the next trophy you can earn, which is by equipping the Prometheus Blood Code. You'll then see if you hit the R2 and then down on the D-pad, you will activate a gift from Lewis that will alter how you play, and this will get you the Resonant Power. This is something that certain blood codes can be used in access, which is a very specific skill from that ability that you can't change. So the only way to change it is if you take off that blood code. But basically from here, if you follow the path that I take, this will be how you farm the old world materials, which will drop. It is a bit of a long run, but from here, once you get to the split in the road, you will take the left path. Now the first time you're clearing the area, this will happen automatically. You don't need to interact with anything to trigger it, but afterwards you will then have to come over here and do the Trial of Blood. As you'll see, this will summon enemies, and you'll have to fight off the enemy waves, of course. After you fight off so many, of course, you will then get a condensed lost shard, which will be roughly 1,000, which is really good early on. And then, as you'll see, the enemies are dropping materials for us. It is a random chance to have them drop these, so do keep that in mind. But you'll know you are close to being done when the big guy, who is slightly different than this one right here, shows up. As you'll see, there he is. He'll have I guess a cloth garb, and will be more menacing. But as you'll see, once you defeat him, this will happen every time you'll get the condensed lost shard.
Did you pick up something we can use?
Now, along the way, for grinding these, you'll only need 17 old world materials to get whatever weapon that you want, Lewis's or Yakumo's, if you decide to get his. He's the military looking dude who's not in all white, who's next to the vault at the home base, I guess you'd call it. They both require 50 points. Now, for Lewis is the tea, and for Yakumo is the blood bead candy. So giving those will get you 3 points with them every time you do it. Now you should also have other old world materials or old world items. As you'll see, I have all the ones that you get from the tutorial area. These can also be given, but they will give you 1, 2, 3 points. Sometimes they will give you 5. But once you have defeated the enemies, you'll run back, rest at the missile, and then rinse and repeat until you get your 17, like that. I'm going to skip that, of course, just because it's time consuming. So we're now going to be going back to the next area, or back to Shang, and we'll be continuing from there. So I'm probably going to end up getting Lewis's weapon and moving on. Now, while grinding all of these old world materials, I highly recommend switching and using all of the blood codes that you have and mastering them. As you'll see, the ability has that little I guess star pattern on it in the left section of the screen. That lets you know that you have mastered those abilities and then can inherit them or use them on others. So just doing that will basically benefit you in the long run. As well as doing this, you will also get plenty of, I guess, currency to level up and things like that. So do keep that in mind. It's roughly 2,000 or so per run. Also use that time to acquire the gifts that you can from these blood codes. So yeah. Alright, so on a small side note, while you were doing this farming, if you decide to do this farming, you don't have to, of course, if you don't want to. But if you do decide to do it, you will probably eventually get the Together Until Oblivion trophy, which is just for having dialogue with a companion 50 times. Like I said, this will happen naturally as you play through the game. The next one that I want to talk about is a weapon for every season. Now, if you decide to equip every single weapon that you see that I have here, excluding the bayonet, devour, but every other weapon here will get you that trophy. So just keep that in mind. And like I said, as you're doing this, if you are doing this switching and using all the blood codes to get all of the masteries, as you'll see, like I have done, will definitely benefit you in the long run, as well as using your currency to acquire the gifts while at the missile. So now we are actually going to continue on to the next major area of the game. Alright, as we will see, from here you're just going to follow the one and only path that you can take. And along the way there is 2 things you can grab before you reach the next missile, or safety area, bonfire, whatever you would like to call it, or have me refer to it to make it simpler to understand. As you see, the area is mapped already because once you reach it, there will be a cutscene.
Davis would be very interested.
You'll unlock the next Den of the Dead, or depth area.
On my way.
But as you'll see, it's a pretty straightforward path. You're not going to miss anything. And as you'll see right here, we'll be at the next missile. Alright, so from here, you're going to have a bit of a ways until the next missile.
Quite valuable.
But from here you can find a couple of things of importance. Faded comic, which is something that you can give to Lewis that is something he actually likes. From here, you can follow the path that I take to grab all the items. Of course, there are enemies along the way. I have already killed them all. Grab more upgrade materials.
On my way.
Here you'll find the Prometheus Vestige Part A, which is used in upgrading certain blood codes. You'll have to find all of the pieces, of course, before you can do that. But along the way you'll have a pretty straightforward path. Some enemies littered throughout, but I believe in you guys to get through this. some cologne. Eventually you'll make your way into the parking garage. Right here. You'll see an area we'll eventually end up at and head over to. Over here we'll have our next item, the Hunter Vestige Part C. Like I said, there are
Those like barricades.
a bunch of things that you can find throughout the area here. But going through the parking garage, there is going to be one tough enemy right here. A big female-ish enemy, I would say. But coming down here, right next to this ladder, there will be a cutscene. And then off to the left of that is the next missile. Alright, so from here, you're going to have a bit of a journey to go on to get back to here, as there's going to be a lot of enemies and a lot of fighting, but there's a lot of stuff in this next area to grab. So from here, you basically just follow the path that I take. You'll come around here.
Would have missed that.
Now this next area has a bunch of winding and turning around and looping back around on itself, so we're just going to start off in the closest area here.
We'll have to take good care.
You'll have your next code, the Hunter Vestige. You'll then have this chest here,
That's quite valuable.
a
Let's use
bardiche.
it well.
I believe that's how you pronounce it. I could be wrong. From there, we're going to head back to the left, come over here, pick up this lost shard, and over here, we'll have another region extension. So we'll just use that. Now you should have a total of 5 uses.
You can't regenerate? Let's consider heading back.
From here, we're actually going to head over to the left.
Which way will it be?
We'll grab this item right here, a lost shard. Now there's also this pit area, which I do believe has a shortcut back from a previous area, so we're going to wait to do that. There is a map that you can activate down there if you want to grab it now. If not, you can always get it later or come back. From here, we're going to then continue forward. Here we'll grab some more Queen Iron. We'll grab a Hunter Vestige Part B. There'll be a tough enemy in this area right here. It's that same fat enemy, I guess is the best way to describe it. But then from here we have a straight path. This area just loops back around to that chest. At that area around the chest should be your first actual invasion of the game if you didn't go to the depths. So from here you'll come along this path. Do be careful right here. There is a small ambush of 3 enemies on that cliff. You'll just want to continue forward at first. You'll come over here, grab the Prometheus Vestige Part C. Then from here we'll head back and actually head to the garage area again. From here it's a pretty straightforward path. You'll see the next item that you can grab right here.
It's quite valuable.
Fragrant tea. Once again, that is an item you can give to Lewis. While we're right here, we might as well grab it, but it's going to be the Awake MJ109. And then, if you come over here and break these boxes, you can find the Hunter Vestige Part A.
Remember, there's missile if we climb up.
If you then come up here and come up all the way, you'll have your next mapping. Then you'll have the shortcut back to the missile, as you'll see like so. So now we'll be heading back behind us the way we just came from. Alright, so from here, you can follow the path that I take. This will lead us to the next missile, as well as eventually leading us to the next boss. So from here you'll just follow the path that I take. Now before heading across the bridge, if you come over here to the right, you'll find a chest. Kind of tucked away, but not very hidden. And you'll find the Zweihander. Wonder if it's a upgrade. It is. Oh, this is gonna be a fun fight. Anyways, so from here, if you follow the path that I take, you'll then get the next
Wait.
Hunter Vestige Part D. You'll then just follow this path around.
On my way.
You'll get another item right here. Flower seeds, and then if you come over here, you'll get your next chest.
What do we have here?
This will have the Night Claw, Blood Veil, but from here you can follow the path that I take. You'll find your next item if you just keep going up the stairs right here. Some anti-venom, which is actually something I would probably equip in your hotbar, just because the next boss does inflict poison. Find some Queen Iron right there. Then from here, as you can see, you will find the next missile. Alright, so from here, the first thing you're actually going to want to do is you're just going to want to come and drop down right here. Careful. Don't want to die. But if you come down here, you can find your next Prometheus Vestige Part D. Then we'll just head back up. We'll grab our item right here.
Sorry.
Some more anti-venom. There's nothing really important to grab just yet. But then if you take this right, as you'll see,
I've come back to life
you'll
again.
find the Prometheus Vestige Part B. You will have your next mapping right here, and then you will have your next boss fight right here. Obviously, of course, important cutscenes or story I'm going to skip. We now have our next boss fight.
Where to get started?
Butterfly of Delirium.
Do you still have some healing left? Take it through what you have left.
As you can see, I'm not quite prepared for the attacks of this boss with this weapon set yet. As you'll see though, I didn't do too well, but that's okay. Alright, we're now back for a rematch. This time will be different. Or not. tell, I'm definitely more used to Souls games. But we get the job done. Once you do that, you will get the Butterfly of Delirium trophy. Obviously, I'm going to skip the cutscene, of course. And from here, we're actually going to rest up. And continue on to the next area. It's pretty straightforward, but this will also lead us to getting our next trophy. We'll have another cutscene right here. From here, you'll have this character you can talk to. Not really that important, but now you can head down this elevator to the next area. Like I said, it's a pretty straightforward path.
It's built where the miasma is thin, but the fact that it's
There's
still
nothing,
working speaks to its sophistication.
from what I remember, of importance to grab along the way. However, I will be stopping right about here, as there is another cutscene and memory that you're going to interact with, and that is going to be Lewis's memory. You will get a trophy for seeing Lewis's memory, so try not to skip any of that, as it will be important if you want to know about the story anyways, at least for characters and plot. But as always, this is probably going to be the end of the first episode. Like always, I do hope that this video or guide has been helpful, informative in some way, shape, or form. As always, this has been Mr. Pilgrim. I will see you all in the next one.